the honorary trustees, the past presidents, President Ceylon College of Physicians, the Council for 2023, fellows, members, presidents of other colleges, and distinguished invitees. May I, on behalf of the President and the Council of the CCP 2023, most warmly welcome you to this August Assembly. Your gracious presence this evening is an inspiration for all of us. Dr. Duminda Munidasa was elected as President CCP on the 9th of December 2022 at the annual general meeting. As per tradition, we have gathered here today for the induction ceremony of the President CCP 2023. As the first item in the agenda, it is my pleasure, privilege, and honor to deliver the outgoing President's address. The outgoing President's speech is one of the most predictable items you would ever see. There will be inevitable photos, images of flyers, lengthy recaps of what happened, and in general, a summary of events most of you would anyway remember as you were there. If the council did a lot of work, well, the speech could take a long time. I do know that you are now bracing yourself for such a display at this moment. And then, of course, I'm certain you're puzzled why Mike Briel is on the screen. Let me tell you. I believe the CCP's achievements in 2022 needs no retelling. The fellows and members of the CCP walked with the council every step of the way. It's not that we did and you saw, but we did all together. For the record, the Secretary's report carries a detailed account and it has been emailed to each CCP member and is now in public domain. I seek your concurrence to move away from convention. Instead, I beg your indulgence to permit me to share with you 5 lessons in leadership which I learned leading the CCP. I share these with you in the hope that these will help you to play your leadership roles better, and the future presidents can learn from my experience. With my passion for literature, I will present them as books so that you could recall the book titles and recollect the linked leadership lessons. The Art of Captaincy. Mike Briel is considered by many to be the greatest cricket captain who ever stepped onto a cricket field. A double first class in psychology and philosophy from Oxford University, and a trained clinical psychotherapist, players would be motivated to perform miracles under him. Once, someone commented, if Briel asked the sun to move, saying he needed some shade, the sun would actually move. Such was his skill in leadership. His Art of Captaincy is a wonderful read. The first leadership lesson is how to get the best out of each team member in the council. I believe every member of the CCP possesses a skill set good enough to serve on the council. The leader needs to identify the unique skill set each member around him possesses. We need many skills, both hard and soft, such as academic and clinical excellence, communication skills, people management skills, creative thinking, critical thinking, to speak well, the ability to write well, skills in fine arts and humanities, financial management skills, The list goes on and on. Very few of us are truly all-round skilled in all this. But on the other hand, each person possesses their own skill set. The leader needs to identify the skill set of each and every member very clearly. He must align the member's skill set with his vision for the organization and its mission. Then the leader must communicate clearly with each member what is expected from the person. That is, to provide role clarity. The leader must assure the member if at any time support is needed or the member is losing grip, the member can turn to the leader. Support will be unconditional with no blame. The only danger is role overburdening. When the member is gifted in many ways, it is easy for the leader to fall into the trap of getting all tasks across to the most gifted and the resultant failure in more than one front. In the CCP, I tried to identify each member's skill set and create role clarity. I will take two examples by way of explanation. Dr. Himantha Athukorala is widely read, knows a lot of people, he has good people skills, and possesses creativity. Considering his skill set, and in keeping with the year's theme, Crossing Divides and Bridging Gaps, I requested him to lead the collaboration with non-physician specialist colleges. With his Latin expertise, the term Collegia Unitum Scientia was born, and we all saw the success of this initiative with urologists, medical information specialists, sports physicians, psychiatrists sharing their expertise with us. The second example involves a very senior colleague on the council with years of experience in managing all facets of the CCP. His assigned task was to answer all the telephone calls from me immediately, however busy he was. If and when I wanted wise counsel on a contentious decision to be made, I would call him and discuss my innermost thoughts. That helped my crucial decision making. Though he possessed many skills, that was the skill set I mobilized this year. I must state at this point that if I took any wrong decisions, it is not his fault. The responsibility is entirely mine. Ignoring sensible advice is part of my own skill set. The leadership lesson for us here is to identify the unique skill sets of team members, give them role clarity, and prevent role overburdening, the art of captaincy. Over the past few months, I have increasingly realized there's so much the medical community can learn from the business world. We have already taken in much, but we need to take in more. Emotional intelligence came from business psychology. Case-based discussions from business and law. Reflective practice from business management. Return on investment, loss of diminishing returns, all are most useful concepts. Peter Thiel, the Silicon Valley billionaire, is a founder of PayPal and an initial investor of a number of other immensely successful startups such as Facebook. He wrote this book called 0 to 1, which I read recently. Elon Musk of the Tesla fame had listed among the 10 most important books he has ever read. When one leads the CCP, one lesson from business is the need to recognize the brand value of CCP. what defines CCP, and keep adding to that value. What does this successful brand called CCP offer to the medical community and the society? I will try to list a few key words which define the brand CCP. The home of all physicians, the place where the creme de la creme, the best of best physicians from all physician specialties gather to exchange intellectual ideas, like has occurred from the time of Socrates. Not merely in academic matters only, but in sports encounters too. When the CCP dismissed the College of Cardiology cricketers for a paltry 38 all out and knocked down the target in 4 overs, mind you, that also receiving specific instructions from the CCP president to score slowly till he arrived to distribute the prizes. I walked up to the cardiology team captain to console him. All he said was, "We lost to the CCP, but we are the CCP." So we won. I hugged him tightly. We are the Mahagedara to all physicians. Trust is another key word in the CCP brand. That is why when Save Lives Sri Lanka Fund was launched by CCP in collaboration with 4 other colleges, at a time when trust in Sri Lanka, in Sri Lankan machinery, was at the lowest ebb, overseas donors sent $150,000 to our fund. The CCP saved the health system of Sri Lanka by obtaining insulin when the country had no regular insulin, buying tacrolimus for KT patients when there wasn't a single tablet in the country, buying desferrioxamine for children with thalassemia, and the list goes on. All this because the CCP brand is trusted by one and all. Academic leadership is another value of the CCP brand. When the CCP office called me and informed me that the secretary to the Judicial Services Commission wanted my number to speak, I was understandably nervous. He did speak to me, and it was to invite the CCP to take over the Healthy Mind and Body teaching module of the Judicial Services Commission for the magistrates to be newly appointed in Sri Lanka. That reflects the brand value of academic leadership of the CCP. Refinement and elegance are also brand values. Meticulous attention given to each detail. Simple things like which music to play for the procession to walk in at the presidential induction. Last year, it was Ode to Joy from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, the anthem which brought Europe together, reflecting on the theme of crossing divides and bridging gaps. It was Chariots of Fire reflecting CCP's ability to thrive in adversity, and the glorious celebratory music of Mozart's Marriage of Figaro used at the annual academic session's inauguration ceremony procession when it walked in and when it walked out. Innovation is another brand value. Over years, CCP has innovated. From features such as the Young Physicians Forum to book clubs, CCP has been the first among equals. The CCP started peripheral meetings long years ago. In 2013, we had 9 regional meetings covering all 9 provinces of Sri Lanka. When it was felt that the traditional model of lecture-based regional meetings was unwieldy, the CCP developed learning modules in anaphylaxis, arrhythmias, and poisoning, which were immensely popular. This year, it was innovated further by placing the model on its head by inviting physicians in the periphery to address doctors in the center of CCP under the Peripheries to the Fore program. Ladies and gentlemen, the leader needs to identify the brand values of the organization and create a program to add further value. What is unique to the organization? How do we place our annual plans alongside the organizational brand? When we know who we are and what we wish to further develop into, we need not copy anyone or try to be someone else. We play to our strengths and become even more unique. The lesson is to identify the brand value and organizational culture and consider value addition projects. Obstacle is the way. Ryan Holiday writes prolifically on ancient Greek philosophy. In Obstacle is the Way, he speaks about resilience. Last year was probably the most difficult year all of us faced. Lack of essential items to buy, even for those possessing the means. Crippling power cuts, days-long fuel queues, people's struggles, political uncertainty, and sporadic violence ripped apart our social fabric and destroyed the faint-hearted. I learned that to lead an organization such as the CCP, keep the council and the members motivated at a crisis like this, one needs enormous resolve. Resilience. Many fall apart in crisis. Some others fight to survive crisis. Those who are resilient look for opportunity in the crisis and thrive in them. They become better than they were, not in spite of the crisis, but because of the crisis. As the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius writes in the Meditations, what stands in the way becomes the way. Impediment to action advances action. During the crisis year, the CCP covered all its bases, strengthened them, and ventured into new folds, such as fulfilling its social responsibility. Whilst many academic colleges postponed their annual sessions due to uncertainty, we held ours on schedule, featuring some of the best medical minds in the global medical sphere. A past president of the British Medical Association, the BMA, sent a note. This is a world-class program. After the annual sessions, the RCP invited us to write one paragraph for the RCP Global newsletter. Dr. Dinesha Sudhasinghe, the Secretary Extraordinaire of the CCP, duly obliged. The RCP Commentary magazine editorial team had seen that and contacted us to write a 2-page article for the magazine commentary highlighting how the CCP thrived in such a difficult period. We sent a 4-page article for the editors to pick what's important. And guess what? They created space for 2 more pages and published the full 4-page article. In a personal note, the editor mentioned that there were so many things the RCP and membership could learn from the CCP, and they wanted all of our resilient work to be a lesson for the global physician community. The leadership lesson I learned and wish to share with you is the importance of being resilient and motivating those around you also to be resilient. As Marcus Aurelius told us 2,000 years back, and Ryan Holiday reminds us presently, obstacle is the way. Courage is calling. Ryan Holiday identifies 4 virtues in Stoic philosophy: wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. I learned that to lead the CCP at a difficult time such as 2022, I needed courage, a lot of it. I will highlight 2 such instances. In the middle of all this chaos, the Ministry of Health unceremoniously sacked the NMRA board, citing lack of annual reports. It included the CCP representative too. We did have reason to question the bona fides of the move, but there was a legal cover for the action of the MOH according to the NMRA Act. I received a letter from the MOH asking me to nominate someone other than the previous member. This was inappropriate, and the MOH had no right to dictate to the CCP who should and who should not be nominated. I familiarized myself with the NMRA Act, and it was clear who were the persons ineligible for nomination, and our nominee certainly would not fit that. After discussing in detail with the council, I wrote a letter to the MOH not complying with their request and renominating the previous member. Lo and behold, I get a 2-page letter littered with legal jargon rejecting my nomination and a last sentence threatening appropriate legal measures. I was not sure whether the MOH was threatening to take legal action against me or the CCP. I received many telephone calls from worried council members. I reassured them all. I had done my homework. I knew the NMRA Act to the word and had obtained independent legal opinion from a prominent legal counsel. I wrote, with the council's consent, a 5-page reply to the MOH, quoting legal provisions as advised. Excitement was running high, and we waited with bated breath, and we received a letter from the MOH, a 1-sentence reply devoid of all legal rhetoric. We had called their legal bluff. All the acts, I beg all of you not to be put off by legal rhetoric. All the acts are in English. We can read and comprehend them and make sound judgments. We can obtain independent legal opinions from trusted counsels and confirm our judgment. The second instance where courage as a leader was tested was during the height of Aragalaya, when there was enormous pressure on me to support the people's struggle, mobilizing the CCP as the premier medical specialist college. The pressure was not merely from within, but from other professional organizations too. I said no, that I will not go to any forum representing the CCP. I had 3 reasons for doing that. The first, the objects of the CCP as laid down in section 2.1 of the Constitution did not cover this eventuality. The second, and perhaps the most important, I knew there were CCP members on both sides of the divide. Had I taken a decision to support, that would have split the CCP right in the middle. Politicians and political movements will come and go, but the CCP will last perennially, and not a single member of the CCP should be isolated from CCP. The third reason was my own political acumen, which told me that what started as a middle-class struggle had then been taken over by different political entities, and I did not wish the CCP to become yet another tool in evil machinations of politicians. That this decision against popular sentiment, and a sentiment I shared at personal level, required courage in abundance. The story did not stop there. The next step in courage was to include in the program of the academic sessions the presentation of opposite viewpoints or perspectives on whether or not the CCP should play a political role at times of national crisis. This was a very tricky step where no other professional college has ventured into. All the discussions were limited to corners with like-minded persons. Here we brought matters out into the open. This move also could have spectacularly backfired and needed much courage, but the CCP did it, and the membership much appreciated the differing perspectives presented by the two erudite past presidents of the CCP. The views they presented were not necessarily their personal views, but a deep analysis of all aspects. The lesson I learned was, to be a leader, one must have courage, an abundance of it. Courage is calling. The final lesson I share with you is also represented by another book by modern-day philosopher Ryan Holiday, and by now you probably would have figured out who my favorite author is. Ego is the enemy. Virtually all religions warn us about how ego leads us astray. The truth of this was evident when leading the CCP. Leaders surround themselves with a set of sycophants who will keep singing praise, and leaders will lose touch with reality even when they are failing miserably. We have many such examples from both ancient and recent history. That is the reason I made certain there were a few people around me who would tell me the truth, however bitter it might be. Every difficult decision, I ran past them. They had a free license to call me and share their concerns about CCP matters. I am most grateful to them. But the real danger lies when you're doing well, doing brilliantly well. At that moment, even your truthful advisors can only praise you. That is the moment when you are left alone with your ego, and ego can actually take over you. That is the moment when you feel you're actually bigger than the institution. You feel the need to leave a legacy, something that will make people remember you, that people will say, you were the GOAT. For those of you who are not familiar with modern day acronyms, GOAT means greatest of all time. No, my dear friends, no one can be the greatest of all time. Someone greater will always come in the future. All we may leave will be, as the poet Henry Longfellow wrote, footprints on the sand, the traces of which might give heart and inspire someone following us. The footprints themselves will be washed away by the waves of time. That is all there is to it, my friends. For the CCP president, there is only one legacy. It's not me, it's the CCP. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the final leadership lesson I wish to share with you. Ego is the enemy. Be most mindful. Dear trustees, past presidents, CCP Council, fellows and members, I stood before you 12 long months earlier, pledging allegiance to the CCP Constitution and setting out a program built under the theme, Crossing Divides and Bridging Gaps. We face tumultuous times, and I offer no apologies. All we wanted, we did. We did not let the hard times stop us, but we adapted to the needs of the times and carried on with vigor. Any team can manage good times, but only brilliant teams can win in difficult times. I wish to thank the brilliant CCP 2022 team. This was not an instance of the president and the two secretaries carrying on the task, but a mobilization of highly skilled and highly motivated team, the US Navy SEALs equivalent of the CCP. I thank each of the council members most profoundly and look forward to many of them leading the CCP as presidents in years to come. The most difficult tasks were carried out by the two secretaries and the treasurer. Thank you, Dinesha, who is joining us from London, Sudarshan and Dumita. Your work was amazing, stupendous, fabulous. I run out of superlatives. As I conclude my address, to dear Duminder and the Council of 2023, may I say, on behalf of the Council of 2022, may I wish you good luck, courage, and wisdom. Enjoy the journey. May the Devas bless you every step of the way. To the team 2022, with apologies to Frank Sinatra, may I say, and now the end is near, and so we face the final curtain. We've lived a life that's full. We've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more. We did it our way. To the CCP trustees, past presidents, president, council, fellows, and members, may I say, thank you for walking with us on this exhilarating CCP Journey 2022. As Aladdin would have said to Princess Jasmine, unbelievable sights, indescribable feelings, soaring, tumbling, freewheeling through an endless diamond sky. This has been a truly magical carpet ride. Thank you. Have a beautiful evening.